It is 7:41 a.m. and what you are seeing is the Bay Area traffic heading into San Francisco. And there are two things that are happening. Those two things are, as a human services professional's quality of life is in traffic, and either you are in your car driving like myself, or you are taking the BART, which is Bay Area Rapid Transit. Secondly, what we are seeing is resources. We are seeing cognitive resources heading into the city. And why is that so important? Why does that have to be a conversation? Because it means that the individuals who have the educational background, who know the know-how, are heading into a resource-rich area. San Francisco is a resource-rich area. It is beautiful, it is full of homelessness, and it has the money. Who does not have the money? Oakland. Oakland doesn't have the money. Contra Costa County doesn't have the money. So because all of these things are an issue, we are unable to diversify funds. So we are unable to diversify funds. We are unable to have people employed who have the know-how, who have the understanding to bring funds into Oakland, to bring funds into San Leandro, San Lorenzo. What else needs help? Contra Costa. When we look at Antioch, these places where people who have been displaced and have been pushed out of the city, have been pushed out of San Francisco, and now who are being pushed out of Oakland, they are thus being impacted not only from them having to relocate, but also because the people who can support them, who have the know-how, who have the knowledge, are working in the city because of income issues, income disparities from San Francisco into the East Bay. Sorry for the light, but I'm on a roll right now, so excuse the editing. But what we are seeing is a lack of this. It is a mismanagement of funds from a state and federal level. Because when you work in human services, when we're looking at the broader, we're thinking in high level, money and funding come from a federal level first. States apply for federal funding, they receive the funding, and they disperse it amongst counties and amongst cities. Your zip code can impact everything around you. It can impact where you're going to work at, if they're going to add 30 minutes or an extra hour to your commute to receive a livable income. It's going to also impact the individuals that are your fellow citizens there. So if there is, like we're having now, an economic fallout, what if these people who work in the city, who might have a pre-existing mental health condition, lose their home because of foreclosure? Because when we think of poverty, we think that people were born into poverty, and that's not always necessarily true. Most of the time, by the second generation, people who are middle class become poor because of the mismanagement of money and it not being taught, because money was acquired through hard work and not through learning the language and the understanding of money. So when we think of human services, we always have our heartstrings and we say, oh, I love people, they're sick, and I like helping people. But really, it's capitalism. We are on the other side of capitalistic structures. As a human services, social services, as a social worker, whatever you do in the human services field, you are on the other side of capitalism, which means you are not pursuing profits. You are using profits that are pursued under capitalism to support those who are the labor class or the non-labor class or just poor. So you have to get these concepts in your mind. One, to give you a quality way of looking at jobs. As I said in my previous video about workplace toxicity and how individuals who are low income earners making $24, $27 an hour in the Bay Area, which makes you kind of low income here because of the higher cost of living, that ability to be creative cannot move because you have the same mindset as the people in which you are serving. So when we put this all together as looking at human services through the lens of capitalism, we now know that how the money is flowing and how it is being dispersed is playing a significant role. And if the way the money is playing a significant role, that means the jobs and the zip codes are going to further give more life to the people and to the employees, or it's going to take away. Because nonprofits, the only thing about a nonprofit is that it is tax exempt. It does not mean it doesn't operate as a corporation. It's a 501c3 corporation. They just have to clear the books at the end of the year. They cannot have an earned income on the books. So you might have some things happen in nonprofits that I have had experience where you will get a random bonus. Oh my God, we got $1,200. Where did that come from? It is because they had to clear the books at the end of the year. They made that much money that they had to clean it so that they would not lose their 501c3 status, and they would be 501c3 status, and they would be taxed on it. Secondly, 501c3s can have assets. They can have assets of depreciating value. Even though housing is an appreciation, if you build into it, it appreciates. If you don't build into it, it depreciates. There are 501c3s who depreciate. From a corporate standpoint, let's look at the other side of that, right? Let's balance it out. Who is the number one who uses that well in assets? Apple. Apple's products do not make them money. They're cash. They have high bank account balances as well as a high ownership of real estate. So our core competencies and the core understanding of Apple is not the product, it's not the laptop, it's not the phone, it's their ownership of real estate and of cash. So you're like, Jamila, how does this make sense? What does this do? Blah, blah, blah. Because it helps you look for a job. It helps you understand that these are corporations that you are working for still, because we work in capitalistic economy. So I want you to keep this in your mind, that you do not stay at jobs that are toxic under the guise that this organization is helping people. This organization is still making money by helping people. No matter what it looks like, if it's housing them, if it's offering programming, if it's offering a place for them to be at a shelter. Money is money, baby. Don't play yourself and think that, oh, we just got this $1 million grant to help people. No, there are salaries of $150,000 or more being paid out of that. There are bonuses given if they meet their goal of getting, let's just say, for example, 6 participants for a program. They're going to be incentivized for that. And people clean the books on buying stuff every time. I have been on both sides as a person who did not know the money and the person who does know the money. And I've seen a couple of books cooked before. So I want you all to keep in your mind that there's an ugly side to everything. And as you are going through your schooling and your education or your career changes, and you're leaving corporate America, you are definitely stepping into a different form of corporate America. And you can have a livable wage, you can ask for more money, but I think the core thing that I have learned through my career is having an environment that is a non-toxic environment, because it's a cycle. You're serving, because we serve people in human services. You're serving people who have toxic behaviors. And then you're working with people who have toxic behaviors. You're in the pool for 8 hours. That's 40 hours of your life in toxicity. I don't know who you are as a person, but sometimes you're going to bring that home. And it took me years to separate that. The end of the day, this ends for me. So that means that this is something I participate in, but it's not of me. And you have to get that knowledge in your mind as early as possible, so that you are not burning yourself out. So as always, we have to talk about all aspects of human services, the good and the bad. Don't let them lie to you. There are multi-billion-dollar nonprofits who are serving people, but they're making money. People are employed, and they are at an above livable wage. So I want you to know that when you are beginning to build your career out. As always, Human services, case managers are needed. Case managers specifically, frontline, foot people. I want you to be successful, and I want you to hear the honest truth about things. Have a good one. Bye-bye.